How your babies?
They are good.
Okay.
Keeping us super busy with their sports. Oh my
How
gosh.
do you do that? No, seriously, how do you do that?
That just we just
Because you
do it.
have two.
Two. Kylie
Active.
is because Kylie is doing volleyball and she's transitioning to basketball.
Okay.
Kobe's basketball is pretty much year round, and he's headed to practice this morning. Actually,
And so do y'all balance each other out? Y'all take turns?
we do well. We're both very hands-on,
That's
so
good.
we tend to both be there at the same time.
Mhm.
But with Darnell's new position, he's like traveling a little bit more.
Okay.
So it's mommy, it's
Yes.
me doing everything.
Yeah.
But we make it happen. Hey,
Yeah.
just gotta woman up, make
Figure it out
happen.
and make it
Yeah.
happen. Well, good morning. Good morning. I apologize for our lateness. Welcome to Coffee and Conversations with LaKisha. Today, my very special guest is Katresha Bell. I almost wanted to call you Gilky the other day, and I was like, she's married. And I don't want Pop over there like, wait a minute now. I gave her the title and the rights for this. We are super excited this Saturday morning to have you. I'm going to introduce you to her. We have history. We go far back, and I love the fact that we go far back. High school, as a matter of fact. We lived in the exact same neighborhood. We rode the same school bus
We did.
together. She was way more quiet than I was. She would sit in the bus and be really quiet. I was not quiet. I don't know that I've ever been quiet. But welcome to Coffee and Conversations.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm super excited to have you. I'm really focused and going into this new season on entrepreneurship, on women who are strong, on catching stories. And I know a little bit about your background, but I gotta start like I do with everyone.
Okay.
Who is Katresha? Like, who are you?
I am a lot of things.
Okay.
I'm mom, I'm wife, I am businesswoman,
Yeah.
I am daughter,
Yeah.
sister, mom to many.
Yeah.
Mom to many. With my kids being in their sports, you tend
Yes.
to take on other folks' kids.
Yes,
So
yes.
I'm godmom to many.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, but I'm just enjoying life.
Right
Just
now.
loving life.
So I want to talk a little bit because you and I also worked in some of the same settings. And then I didn't even know you were getting, and we'll get into your business in a
Okay.
minute. I didn't know you had that in you because she is so reserved. Like, because she's so quiet. I didn't know. And then I started seeing this and I started seeing you post different things. And I was like, wait a minute, this chick got some other things going on. So tell me, what happened? Your degree is in?
It's in psychology.
Okay.
And with a minor in social work.
Yes.
And as you said, we were both at Mid-South together.
Yes.
And I briefly stepped away from Mid-South, but I'm back there.
Okay. Okay.
However, in my early time there at Mid-South, I guess within 2 years of me being there is when I started my business, Soirée Weddings and Events.
Yes.
And it came out of, actually, let me back up a little bit. Darnell and I will celebrate our 17th anniversary a week.
Oh,
from-
happy anniversary.
A week
I
from
love that.
today.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you. And I was very hands-on with our wedding.
Okay.
And I knew that we could have a nice wedding and not have to pay the astronomical.
Oh, we're going to talk about that too. I want you to help new brides or people who have never been married before. We're going to talk
Okay.
about that.
Okay. But around 2008 is when I decided to just go ahead and launch the business.
Okay.
And so I was just doing it part-time, and it kind of blew into full-time, and then I've scaled back just a little bit, but still doing weddings, baby showers, wedding showers, the full gamut of events.
That's cool. That is so cool. I'm always so interested in the entrepreneur and what made you, like, I know you said hands-on with your wedding, but what like woke you up and said, I can start my own business?
I just believing in myself, honestly,
Okay.
and just the support that I did have from Darnell, because that is very important when going into business. That if you have a husband, spouse, partner, that you do have to have that support, because you're putting in tons of work, late nights,
energy,
long hours, yes,
yes,
long
money.
hours, exactly,
yes.
And I just said, okay, we're gonna do it, because we were kind of helping out. I was kind of helping folks out here and there, and I said, you know what, we can make a little bit of money off of this,
Yes.
But I didn't. Again, I just did not want to be the planner that charged tons of money.
I applaud you for that, because I think I'm a big, where the scripture says your gift will make room for you. I believe in that. I think that we can create resources for those around us that we don't just have to exploit, and we can still get paid. And I think when we strategically put the right things in place, that God makes everything else happen.
Exactly.
When we operate in character and when we operate in integrity. So I'm excited to hear you say that. One of the things that I'm really doing right now, are focusing and shifting, even in my life strategy, is teaching people how to take the resources they have and maximize themselves. And that's exactly what you said. It sounds like you did. You found out you had a gift. Something got awakened in you.
Yes, ma'am.
Something got awakened in you when you were getting married, and then you were like stirred up, like, you know what? I'm going to take this and I'm going to do something with this. I'm not just going to leave this laying behind.
Right. And actually, one of the first weddings I did was out at Enchanting Evening in Roland, Arkansas.
Okay.
And I was actually doing a wedding for a couple that came in from Denver.
Okay.
And they gifted me pretty much everything that we used for their wedding. They just gave it to me.
Oh,
they gave
wow.
it to me,
That's big. That's
it was
big.
a big blessing. And from that point, I was like, okay, they gave me this, so I want to give back to others.
Yes.
And so whatever I can acquire that's going to help reduce the cost for
Ooh,
someone else, I try to pass it.
Oh, that's really big. That's the way. That way we're community, and that way we're help. If you're just tuning here, I'm here with Katresha Bell, Parkview alumni. I love my Parkview alumni. We love each other. We like just get stuck with Parkview.
Yes.
We're talking about Soirée Events, her business, what made you knew there was an entrepreneur in you?
I don't know. I guess she just woke up one morning.
Okay.
She just woke up one morning, but I'll back up to say that, and you know my mom.
I love your mom.
Moms know
like
each
I
other
love
very
your mom.
well.
Yes.
And our moms are go-getters.
Yes.
And so I've grew up in the church and just always seeing my mom with hands-on, organizing and planning and doing things, and I took on some of those tendencies.
Yes.
And so that just spilled over into the business as far as organization. And it amazes me how I can kind of, see things and how they play out when brides come to me or those that I'm planning events for, and they're like, well, I just don't see it. I just don't see how it's going to happen. And I can see it before it even happens, where it's, it doesn't cost as much as they're thinking it's going to cost, or we can, just make it happen and make it big for it, make it special.
That's really good. I believe I call those gifts divine gifts. When we can see a thing, most people don't understand. Like you can come to me with a circumstance, and he'll just give me the strategies to help you work this out with your business, or I can see part of the vision. So that's good. So let's get into Soirée Events and talk a little bit about event planning. And let's take it from the position of maybe a new bride, right?
Okay.
What do you say to the new bride that doesn't have a big budget? I've never had a wedding. When my husband and I got married, we got married at the house.
Okay.
I bought a dress that was like $75. My very first wedding ring was like an $80 ring. I'm not lying.
And that's perfect.
An $80 ring from the pawn shop. I had an $80 ring from the pawn shop. His band cost about $40. We had some small family friends over. I remember my mom bought my dress. It was just very funny. It was a very personal situation.
Yeah, very intimate.
So what would you say to the young bride, or the first time person that's a bride that's ever been married and that comes to you and says, I want to get married and I want you to help me plan this? What are some of the advices that you can give them to keep them within their budget? Because sometimes the idea of the wedding gets crazy or takes off.
Yes, and I tell all brides that, first of all, you have to live after the wedding.
Oh, that's good.
You have to live after the wedding.
Why do you say that?
Because we do have social media, which is wonderful.
Yes.
But people tend to compete with one another. You may see that you may see a classmate or a friend or someone else had this, and this for a wedding, and you are trying to, compete with them and have the same things. But you have to make your wedding your own. It has to be your own. It has to be personal. To give you an example, there was a bride that I was working with a couple years ago. They were going to do a full wedding, and she was from, I believe it was Jamaica. and they were going to do a full wedding here, but some circumstances changed where they decided that it was just going to be an intimate wedding with them, their siblings, and their parents.
And that was
and it was probably one of the sweetest weddings that I've done.
And so it shifted from being full. And tell me what you mean by full.
Full meaning a ceremony with, you know, over 100 guests.
Yes.
Plus the reception, cocktail hour, all of that.
Yeah.
But we had just one room.
Yes.
The minister came in, did the ceremony, and then family. And her her mothers even made the cakes. So it was very special.
I think that for me is something you said important in this, and I think sometimes I read an article one time. It was called Bride Land, and how sometimes as a bride or a woman we can become so consumed with the wedding that we forget about the living after.
Right.
We forget about the personalization. We go back to the pictures. We forget about the memories, and we forget about the real reason behind what we're doing.
Exactly.
So how do you pull someone back in that you feel like is too far gone?
Have a good, honest conversation with them.
Okay.
I have had some brides that they want the world. They want to bring all these things in, and I'm like, okay, what really matters to you?
Yeah.
And we sit down, look at the budget, because a lot of times what we see, or what brides and couples are seeing, they think, oh, I can do this, I can do that, I can do that, and then they start looking at the budget that they want to do, and it doesn't line up. So we have to kind of back up and say, okay, what really matters?
Yes, that's good. What really matters. That's
start
good.
Bringing in those, those things that are, that are sustain their relationship, and then. Really, right now, a lot of brides are kind of hands-on themselves.
Okay.
But they need someone to kind of work with them and kind of help guide them along with the process.
Yeah, I know when I do this again at some point, I said I wasn't going to do a wedding, but I think I want something small and intimate. Like you said, like I want to be in that one room setting where it kind of turns into a reception maybe, or even do a reception later, right?
You can do that too.
Or even something on the beach. Like I have these concepts because I never but I want it to be intimate. I don't want it to be the world's wedding. I don't want it to be the world's moment.
Exactly.
Because it's really the moment where we're cutting covenant with each other. And I think that's the most significant thing ever, the covenant or the cut that we're making. So you said something about budgets. Realistically, if somebody wanted to have a wedding planner involved, a small wedding, what do you think economically somebody could do a wedding for?
Well, it does depend on the size.
Okay.
Your guest list, because we always look at that. That's one of those first factors.
The guest list.
Is the guest list. I guess I'll just kind of back up to say that when you're planning a wedding, the things that you look at are where you're going to have it, your venue.
Yes.
Your food.
Yes.
Which can be a lot of money, or it can be a little, depending on what you want to do.
Okay.
Your guest list, if you're doing entertainment, and your decoration.
Yes.
So all of those factors really do play a part in putting together your budget.
Yes.
I have worked with, I have done some weddings, and people, probably will think I'm crazy because of me wanting to gift.
Yes.
And give and
yes.
give back.
Yes.
But I have done some weddings for like under $2,000 where it's including everything.
You serious?
Honestly.
I think that's dope. And even your give back is dope. And I think, because that's seed. Every time you do that, that's seed. You're just sowing seed into someone else. And I think that's awesome. So you hear that lady, she said under $2,000. She's done a wedding before. I think you got to be realistic about where you are. And I know we're transitioning into the fall. This is when we amp up. People talk about summer, but I know fall is a new, starts sparking where people are getting interested. People are wanting to do weddings. And she's giving you some key facts. Remember that you have to live outside the wedding. I love that. Remember that it's personal. How do you keep the craziness when you see in-laws that want to be involved?
Patience.
Okay.
Seriously, patience.
Yes.
I guess because of my calm and, like you said, my
You're
quiet,
very calm. Yeah, and that's good. You're very
that
calm.
some of that resonates with the groups, the families that I work with, and I've really not had many to where I've had any issues.
Okay.
Have had to, talk a little bit and say, hey, this is, you know, we need to kind of chill out here or whatever, but I've really not had many issues.
Yeah, and a bride, I think for me, has to be encouraged, because sometimes our parents or even the groom has our parents, who will try to come in and take over, and it's not really necessarily fair to the person, and learning some space and balance in how to back your parent up and say, remember, at the end of the day, I know you probably have dreams, but remember at the end of the day that this is really about my moment, my time, and my minute. What about color schemes? So I've seen so many trends, right?
Yes.
And I'm going to be honest, black is my favorite color.
Mine too.
Is it? Is it really? So black is my favorite color. And I have been thinking, I want to kind of get married in a black dress. And it seems so morbid, right? And maybe that needs to be, I would like to just be that if we're going to commemorate that moment, I just would rather be in black dress. When people are coming to you with color schemes and they seem out the window, how do you reel that person back in?
I will try to put together, after they've told me what they're looking for and the colors that they like, try to put together some of the swatches and so forth and lay it out in front of them, let them see, this is working, no, that's not. I did have a bride that I worked with a couple years ago, and she was a DIY bride that really wanted some direction on how to kind of pull everything
What is
together.
DIY?
DIY, do it yourself.
Do it yourself bride, DIY.
Yes,
okay.
Pinterest is good and a bad thing, because you keep pinning and see all these ideas, and you want to do everything, but it's not possible to do everything.
I'm not a DIY anything. As much as I can bring people in to supplement and help me, I'm not a DIY.
Sorry about your chair,
I'm not a DIY anything. I promise I'm not.
Right. But this particular bride wanted, she had several different colors going on, and after she brought in some of the DIY items that she made, and we put them together, I was able to show her that, it works best if we have this base color and, these couple pops of color. So just kind of the hands-on with them and just putting things together with them.
Yeah, because I've seen some color schemes for weddings and events before, and I've just been kind of or things that are overused. And I think if something is your favorite color, definitely use it. But I guess it needs to look so personal. You know what I'm saying? And finding the personalization behind it. So here's the tricky part. This thing with the groom and the brides. Because a lot of times we'll see grooms who are hands-off. And we'll see grooms who are hands-on, right? How do you bring the groom in that doesn't want to be involved? Or do you just leave him out?
Actually, there have been times when I really didn't see the groom until the day of the wedding.
That's the only time?
That's the only time. Because the bride has been doing everything. I've been meeting with her or meeting with her and her mom. But there have been those grooms that they're concerned about the bar. And they're concerned about the music.
Bar and music.
Yes.
Just as long as we have a good DJ. As long as we have a good bar. I don't care about nothing else. Yes.
But I have had a handful that, they were just like, whatever she wants.
Okay.
But I do try to, if they do show up, I just try to engage them, say, so what do you think? What do you think? But most times, couples, they've kind of discussed things at home prior to getting to me.
Yeah.
So, but the bride is just the mouthpiece.
For it all. The bride becomes the mouthpiece for it all. And that's interesting for me, because we see that all the time, and we're like, okay, how does this happen? Whatever. So what's the part of selecting? How do you select someone to plan? We have several people out there. I'm an energy person, vibe. As much as people think I like being in charge of stuff, I don't. I really don't, right?
Okay.
For me, I would need somebody who would take it. I would need somebody who would take it over. And I would be able to come to them and say, look, here's what I want.
Right.
I need this. You do the rest.
Okay.
Like that's kind of my, how would you suggest to someone to select the person to coordinate for them?
You really have to be in sync if you're planning. Usually it may be anywhere from 6 months to a year. I have one bride that I've actually been working with for more than a year on her wedding. So you really have to pick someone that you're in sync with, your personalities connect, because you're going to spend a lot of time together.
Okay.
And there may be some things that you disagree about, and you need to learn how to agree to disagree. But you have to have someone that's compatible.
Okay. That's good.
And then based on, what, like you were saying, that you prefer someone that's just going to kind of take it over.
Yeah.
If you're the takeover type but still hands-on, you need to find some, a planner that's going to listen to what your vision is, and kind of, listen to what you have to say, but at the same time working behind the scenes to coordinate things for you.
What about if it's a person that doesn't want to meet at all and they want to handle everything by phone? I'm talking about myself. Like, I'm just thinking of all the strategies and things. What if the person doesn't want to meet? Like, is that comfortable, or does there need to be some face-to-face meetings?
Well, with all of the technology that we have, FaceTime counts.
Yeah,
I have planned weddings for couples, like I said, that live out of state. The latest one, I think, they lived in the Oregon area.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it was a lot of telephone back and forth, and I think we met one time in person prior to them getting married.
Okay.
So, I mean, it can work. It can work.
Okay, that's good. That helps those of us who, like me, it's funny because
on the go all the time.
Yeah, and it's not even so much about on the go. I'm so protective of my time.
Mm-hmm.
Like my weekends, when I shift in weekends, they're really about the boys and about family. Mm-hmm. You know how it is. You just talked about balancing and juggling, and we're gonna kick back to that because I want to talk about that. Not only is she this entrepreneur, but she's also a mom and a wife, right?
Yes.
How do you balance between being a mama, right? I wrote a post the other day, right? And I posted it on my wall, and I showed pictures of some of my boys and one of my grandsons. And one of the most significant things that I said was, at above all, this is what matters most.
Mm-hmm. And
this is what comes first.
Exactly.
And when I was married, it was the same way. I had shifted my priorities. Him, kids. Mm-hmm. These are the things that matters most. And I know you're about your family because I'm watching your posts. I know you're that mom. I know you're supportive with your kids. I know you're supportive with your husband. How do you keep balance in everything? My little camera right here keeps adjusting. How do you keep balance in everything that you have going on?
And I would say it is not easy.
Okay.
Keeping balance is not easy, and sometimes I have to snap myself back on track. Darnell has to snap me back on track. But really just remembering what's important.
Yes.
Remembering what's important.
Yes.
Because lately I have because my kids are so involved in sports and their basketball and AAU during the summer, that I have had to scale back my business.
Yes.
And I'm willing to take that sacrifice because they are first.
Yes.
But again, just we're falling down here.
We are falling. My little camera right here is just not cooperating with us today. I'm sorry, on Instagram.
Really being mindful and cognizant of the fact that family first, and then all of that, God first, family, and then everything else will work itself out. God will work all that out.
He will work it out, and it's funny. I shared that the other day. I shared the biblical order for family.
That.
Did you see
I
that?
did see that?
And it was God at the head, and then the husband, and the wife, and then the kids, and it talked about our different roles. And it doesn't mean things don't adjust, but I think that the minute we set our sights on what's real, everything else flows.
Exactly.
When I was out of order and I was pursuing my PhD degree and I was going through all these different transitions, I'll never forget the conversation I had, and it's changed how I parent now. My relationship with my friends. I was sitting with my kids and my husband said, "We want to talk to you," and I said, "Okay." Came home from work, and I got on the computer and I started working again, right? I was a college professor at that time. Get on, sit there, and the little kids are there, he's there, and I feel like I'm like, this is an intervention or something. And it was, and they sat and I was looking, and he said to me, he said, "We want to talk to you, and I want you to give the kids the freedom to be able to say whatever it is they need to say to you right now." And I said, "Okay." And he looks at me and he says, and my son, he's 21 now at the time, he said, "We think that your job means more to you than us." And my eyes got really big.
Yeah.
Because at that time I was working on my PhD, I was teaching full time, and we had our nonprofit organization.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was helping and balancing Jermaine's health.
Right.
And I thought I was doing all these great things, and I thought the PhD was what was necessary
Mm-hmm.
to help get us to another place and all this other stuff. And when I tell you that hit the core of my soul, that hit the core of my soul, like I was in shock. Like I was in shock. I couldn't even really respond to it.
Yeah.
I couldn't really say anything. But what I did was I got in position and I began to ask God. I said, will you show me how to balance my life so that you can get the glory out of my life?
Right.
Show me how to balance this. Show me how to balance marriage in this. Show me how to balance my kids. Show me how to even balance the dreams that I have.
Right.
So that you can get the glory out of this. Because right now you're not getting the glory if they're telling me that they're not getting their needs met, if they're whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I think as entrepreneurs, and even of those of us that are in the workforce, we got to figure out the balance between the two. Even this morning, you were like, my son is on his way to basketball.
Yes.
You know, so you have to have the balance. You have to have the communication in place.
Mm-hmm.
And you definitely have to have, for me, God is the head, so that he can help realign this. You said something important. You said, or we can get out of balance.
We can, and I have been at that point of being out of balance, and it doesn't feel good. Everything is chaotic, and you know it just doesn't work. And then you have to find your way back, pray your way back.
Yeah, and recenter yourself so that you can focus on what's matter. I have this thing about holes in your fence. I have a couple of analogies I use. I always say if there's a hole in your fence, then either your dog gets out or a stray dog gets in. And I use that analogy in marriage all the time, but that's for any relationship. In any relationship, if there's anything lacking, if you don't put the time, the energy, and the effort in, there's going to be some damage to that relationship. And it's okay for you to be mom entrepreneurs and wife entrepreneurs. I think we can do it.
Right.
I just think we have to set ourselves to balance. Even now, I'm working on events and things for the next year, and I've been like, you know what? Nope. These are how many speaking engagements I'm doing.
Right.
This is how many events I'm doing. I'm not going outside of this because I need to be able to be here in this space, to be mom, because I'm not a wife yet again, but to be mom in this space so that when my kids encounter me, they're getting I should, like Monday through Friday, my work schedule is, because I work for myself, at 3 o'clock I'm done. And I'm done at 3 because I have to go get them.
Right.
And I've had to also change because it's just me in the house.
Yeah.
I don't have a tag team partner. I can't tag nobody in.
Yeah.
Right? So we have to learn to do those things as well. Tell me, how can they get in contact with you? If somebody wanted you, if somebody wanted to use you, I'm telling you, she has the sweetest disposition, the sweetest spirit. If you need somebody a little bit more laid back, but also, who knows? How long have you been in business now?
I've been doing this since 2008.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. So we 10 years now. And 10 years of business. After 10 years, you're an expert. That's what I tell people all the time. After 10 years, you're an expert. So in 10 years of business, we're in this thing. How can they get in contact with you?
Yes, I can be reached at through my Facebook page, Soirée Weddings and Events. If you can't find that, go to Katresha Bell. I think I'm tagged on LaKisha's information. You can find me there. Also, it's a soiree on Instagram.
Yeah, that's good. What would you leave? What would you leave anyone with? Just something to encourage them, something to say to them about this wedding process, or even other events. She doesn't just do weddings.
Right.
You do baby showers, retirement parties, family reunions. I believe in hiring people. I do, because I just think someone else is gifted to do this. And even though what did you call it, DIY?
Yes.
Even though you may be a DIY person, you may need to pay somebody else to do some of the things for you. I am a simplify. Simplify your life is what I say. Simplify your life. I don't have to focus on something. If your gift allows you to focus for it, I'm like, Lord, I believe you for a check for this. Let me figure out how to get a check for this so I can happen. Just leave them with something encouraging, and even with something that you've learned as being an entrepreneur.
Okay. Really, again, I go back to the fact that you do have to live after the wedding. make your wedding yours and your husband's. It doesn't belong to anybody else. It's your special
Oh,
day.
that's good. That's good.
It's your special day. Friends like to have a lot of input, I tend to notice, but make sure that you're doing it for you and your husband. And do what you like. Make it personal. If you are that hands-on, that DIY bride, and you do need the assistance, don't be afraid to reach out to me or any other planner, so that you can be stress-free for that particular day that you're wanting to celebrate your special event.
Because you don't want to be stressed out.
No.
You shouldn't be stressed out.
You should not be.
I believe in low stress. Like, that is like how I live now. If I feel like something is too stressful, I'm pulling away from it. And if I feel like something is big, and then I like consistency.
Yes.
How many hours do you think it takes to plan a wedding? I'm also like a last minute person. I would be the person to be like, oh, we get married next week? Oh, okay, let me call somebody and see what they're going to pull together for us next week. Have you ever done that before?
I have done a wedding in...
What's the less time?
For a Soirée, probably in like 3 weeks.
Okay, 3 weeks. 3 weeks.
Probably
So what's your
3 weeks.
what's your baseline? Like, was 3 weeks intense?
3 weeks, and her 3 weeks was not too intense because she had been doing some things herself.
Okay.
So it was just kind of bringing some things in and, getting things situated, coordinated, and making it happen and executing. But preferably at least 3 to 6 months out. Well, at least
3 to 6 months to plan your even event or wedding period.
Yes.
And I think people forget that, because when I see people put on, like, I have an administrative gift. When I see people try to pull events together and they don't give that 3 to 6, I plan my whole schedule is almost a year out in advance. When they don't get that 3 to 6 window, I want to choke them. Like, I'm like, don't plan anything a month in advance.
Right.
30 days is really not enough time.
No,
you can. But it will leave loopholes and gaps, and you'll forget things or stuff comes up.
Right, exactly.
So I like that, 3 to 6 months. Well, this is my special guest. I'm so glad you let me be here and be a part of this. I think we're going to see big things. Now, I want to speak a blessing over you. And I just bless the work of your hands. And I just declare that it multiply and increase. And I know that you're back in the work field, but I feel like in my heart, you're just an entrepreneur at heart. And I just want His glory to supersede and overtake your life.
I receive that.
Where you can be at home with your feet up, with your computer, planning events all over the world, planning events all over the world. I just feel that in my spirit. I just believe God can do exceedingly abundantly above all that I ask. And I'm speaking that into your life today, and I'm just believing God for that for you. Because I can feel that in you. Everybody, like, people will tell me, oh, I'm a wedding planner, I'm this planner, but I am good at discerning gifts, and like, I feel it and see it on you. When I started seeing you post and share things, I was like, she's got something here that everybody else, don't cry on me or nothing. She's got something here that everybody else doesn't have. I feel that in you. So don't lose that. Don't abandon that. Stay true to that. I'm telling you, it's in you. And those are the things that make, even when you were saying giving and making it happen, those are the things that will make it happen. I have one more question for you. Do you do decorating as well?
I do.
Okay, so she does
full service.
You will?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so she does decorate like offices and things like that?
Coordinating, decorate, whatever.
Okay, so she does decorating too. So if you needed some things for your home and some other things, she can make that happen as well.
We sure can.
Your office is her full service. She is full service, everything. So make sure you get connected to this wonderful mother, entrepreneur, wife, daughter. She's an amazing daughter. I've seen her relationship. Her mom, she has a amazing, she and her brother have a great relationship. I harass your brother from time to time because he'll put something on about cooking. So if you watching, Brian, I want my fish. I told her one day, I inboxed him one day and was like, really? Can I get an invite? Can the homie from the neighborhood get an invite? Like, I need an invite. Oh, my cousin Valerie said you're her type of lady decorating. She is. My cousin Valerie is amazing at decorating as well. Yeah. So like, I'm always harassing him. I'm like, I need a piece of chicken or fish. So he'll tell me, okay, I got you. Then I'll see him post something else. I'm like, what's up with this?
Well, you
like,
are not the only one.
Yeah.
He doesn't invite us to all the shindigs
that he has. So I'm like, Brian, can I get in on this and get some of this food? This food. I love to eat. Anytime I see somebody with some food, I'm like, hey, can I get that? And I love anybody anybody who can cook for me and I don't have to cook, even though I
Amen
love to
that.
cook. Well, we're out of time. Thank you guys so much for tuning in with my special guest. I'll be back Monday morning at 5 a.m. with the daily devotional. And guess what? Kicking off Monday morning Coffee and Conversations will be live on podcast. We now have a podcast. So for those of you who can't watch the video, who want to go back and listen or revisit things, we are now podcasting, and that kicks off Monday. And we have some special things coming up. We're going to have some Real Talk Wednesdays. Our schedules are changing a little bit, so pay attention. Go to the website, LaKishaMJohnson.com. Also, you need to go and subscribe to the YouTube channel, Coffee and Conversations with LaKisha. We'll see you back here Monday morning at 5 a.m. You guys know what I'm going to say. Go be loved today. Let somebody else experience your love through your gifts and your talents, right? Peace.